Now, the main sections that I want to walk you through now that we've explained the banking is if we go to work and then select invoicing, we can see here that these two invoices have been paid and it gives us a payment status and date and everything. And what you really don't want to do, so let's say we click into the invoice and I'm going to remove this payment just for fun. What we really don't want to do, and I'm going to give you an example here so you can understand what this means, is we don't want to click this button to add a manual payment. And especially when we're doing bank feeds, especially when we're updating the banking with, for example, CSV files or a normal statement upload. Because when we click this button, which I'm going to do here in a second, it takes you to this new page, which is a new manual bank entry. And this is essentially creating an additional transaction in your banking to add a payment. So it's not just marking it as paid, it's creating a bank transaction. So let's say we create and finish this. Okay, so now it's paid. It looks great, right? It's paid, everything's great. But let's go back to the banking section and click business current account. You'll notice that there's this odd purple transaction here for the invoice, and this is the manual payment we added for that invoice, and it's not part of our actual statement upload. So this has been duplicated now, and this is what often confuses some people, because they'll add the manual payment thinking they've simply marked it as paid, which is all well and good, but then when they go into the banking, these will be duplicated and the bank balance will be completely wrong because these are not supposed to be there, basically. So if this does happen, you can click here on this tick box and delete the transaction. And yes, we want to delete that. We want to get rid of it because we've already got a transaction here that we can use to explain that. So we want to click on that again, and it'll automatically come up with the invoice that we want to pay and just explain it. And perfect, it's gone. We don't have to worry about any kind of weird bank balance issues. The next section I want to show you is the bills tab. So if we click on that, you can see here our accountancy fee now is marked as paid, and we don't have to worry about paying this because it's all done and it's been paid in full. So we're good to know that all that's been sorted out. The next section is going to be my money expenses. All right, so here we can see all the expenses we've been adding in over time. And then we paid ourselves the full amount at the end to bring the total balance owed to £0. Now this means we're all up to date with our expenses and we don't have anything else to pay ourselves, so we won't. And that's all that happens. So when you start adding in new expenses now after this, the balance will start again, and then you can transfer money to yourself. Now, if you don't pay yourself the exact amount, let's say you missed this last transaction and just paid yourself £126, well, in that case, there's going to be an extra £67.50 still owed to you, which you can either take immediately or you can wait another week until you build up more expenses. Totally up to you. After the expenses, we've got my money dividends. And now that I've taken a dividend, you can see here that we've got an actual dividend payment for the tax year, and I've paid myself a total of £500 so far. So if we click on the description, you can actually see here a whole entire meeting that's been created to distribute the dividends in the company. And it's like an approval slip, basically, like a declaration of what you've taken. So as a single director and a single shareholder, obviously this is just a piece of paper that explains you've taken a dividend. It's not realistic to hold a meeting with yourself, but if you had multiple shareholders, then this would be quite valid as a legal document to explain what dividends have been taken and how they've been distributed. And FreeAgent automatically does this for you, so which is really handy. The next section we want to look at is my money salary. And as you remember, there was that pay slip. That means we are owed some money. And since we've now paid ourselves that money, the total balance owed to us is £0, which means our salary is all up to date and we don't have to worry about paying ourselves more or that we've taken too much. So 0 is perfect. We want to see 0 here. Those are the main sections that have changed from that bank update. So if we go back to the overview page, you can see here some of the colors have changed. So the invoice color has changed to green, which means it's been paid. You can see a little explainer key map here of what each color means. You can see the bank balance total has changed. You can also see the total balance owed for expenses down here is £0, which is good, which means we've paid ourselves the right amount. And our total dividend figure available is £540, whereas before it was above £1,000. And that's because we've taken that £500 dividends. So that is a general overview of how to update FreeAgent and how the banking section changes a lot of the aspects of updating FreeAgent as well. So banking is very important to get right because it will affect a lot of things that you may not realize.